Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to episode 13 in our All the Fabric modded Minecraft series. We're still working on Hephaestus. We're going to get into the more advanced stuff during this episode. And I am out here along the riverbed collecting gravel and clay and sand so that I can make grout to make some more seared bricks to make our smeltery the size that we want. If you look at the recipe, it's just one of each to make each piece of grout, and you get 2 for that. So if you get a couple stacks, all you need is one of each, one stack of each. I'm just grabbing a ton of them because it's clay, gravel, and sand is something you'll need for lots of things. So I'd rather have more than not enough. And with vein miner, it's really easy. I can just go to an area where I'm not super concerned about the terrain and just tear it up. All it costs us is some food. And with Minecraft's water mechanics, where everything gets lifted to the surface, it's just a matter of grabbing it all out. So we should have a decent amount. We'll head back and we'll get working on crafting it all up and making the items we need for our smeltery. I have gotten all the clay and sand and gravel that we brought back and made some grout from it. I wanted to do some demonstrations with our mini smeltery here that I built off camera last week before we start building the larger one. Smeltery is like a larger version of the seared heater and melter combination we used before. Whereas the seared heater and the seared melter used coal or other fuel to heat up one type of item into a liquid that we could then pour into the casting table in the casting basin. The smeltery is a larger multi-block structure version of that. And so what it does is it allows us to do large scale processing, but it also allows us to put in more than one fluid at a time. So whereas the melter could only put in one thing, and then if you try to put something else in, it would give you an error. In the smeltery, you can put in as many things as you want. So we could put in iron and gold at the same time, and we would get multiple liquids inside the smeltery. That means that if we put in 2 that can mix, like copper and zinc to make brass, which we'll be doing later, we can also make those alloys in the smeltery and then pour them into the casting basins. So I wanted to show you a few different recipes that we can do to get to the seared brick, or seared stone and seared bricks that are what we need for making the smeltery. We need a large amount of the seared bricks. So the last time we made those, in the last episode, we used the crafting recipe where we cooked the nether grout, or not the nether grout, the regular grout into the seared brick, and then we crafted the brick into seared bricks. Another method we can do is taking a piece of the nether grout, we'll actually put 2 in, and putting them into the smeltery and letting it heat up using the lava that we have in the tank. And then as they heat up, they will turn into seared stone inside the smeltery. And then what we can do when we have a casting basin set up is pour that seared stone out and then we'll let it cool. Those seared stone can then be crafted 2 by 2 to make seared brick. So that's first method. Second method that we can do is by taking old parts of our old system, like we have our seared heater and we have an extra faucet from when we built the system before. If we put them back into the smeltery, it's hot enough that it can melt them back into seared stone. And so when we do that, we'll get more seared stone in here that we can pour out. And we can use that to either cast bricks if we need them to craft items, like if we needed to make another casting table, or if we need to pour more bricks out, we can pour the stone into a solid stone block in the casting basin. So that's a couple of methods. So we have putting nether grout in, a furnace will make our seared brick. Putting nether grout into the smeltery means we can either pour out a seared brick or seared stone, or putting in the old smeltery parts will recycle them back into stone. And in case I didn't demonstrate this, if you take the seared stone, craft them in 2x2, then you get the bricks. Both of these can be used for making the smeltery. The bricks typically are a little more aesthetically pleasing. But the final method I want to show is if you don't have access to large amounts of sand and gravel, if you take... I don't have cobblestone with me. Let me grab a piece of cobblestone. If you take a piece of cobblestone and you put it into the casting basin, and then you take clay and put it into the smeltery, the clay will cook up pretty quickly. You'll get molten clay inside the smeltery, and then you can pour the molten clay over the cobblestone. You can see it used both of the clay balls, so 2 for each one. And then as it dries, you get a seared cobblestone. The seared cobblestone you can either cook in a furnace and it will turn into seared stone, or you can throw it back into the smeltery again and get seared stone. So that's a method. Mostly I would see using that as a way to make seared stone if the only thing you have access to is clay and cobblestone. So it's possible to do it, but doing it with sand and gravel, making grout, is a much better way to do it. We're going to want large amounts of seared stone, well, seared bricks in the end. We also want to make some seared ladders for the smeltery and some other parts. And so what we're going to do right now is we're going to set up this little mini smelter I have to automate the process of making seared stone. So if we put a hopper on here and we put in our grout, it will hopper it into here whenever there's space, and it will slowly turn it into seared stone. And so then rather than piping it out using a faucet, we're going to pull this faucet off. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is leave that faucet on there, and we're going to actually move this basin. And we can put a basin here. So then what we'll do is we'll use a fluid pipe, which connects here. We'll have to actually get around so that we can click on it to set it up as an output. And then I'll have to get down here underneath so that I can change this one to an output. And so now we have the seared stone being piped into the casting basin. So as soon as there's space in the casting basin, pours the stone in, and as it dries, we can pull it out and it will just keep repeating. So we could do it that way. But to go one step farther, what we're going to do, and we can put this block back, is put a barrel right here. And then we're going to use our item pipe. We're going to connect that here. We'll put in a servo. And now the servo, because it is set up with a blacklist, which means that it'll let anything through unless we blacklist it. It will grab the seared stone as it comes out, and it will pull it into this barrel. So now we can fill this hopper all the way up with grout, and we can slowly allow it to turn into seared stone, and we can come back for it. We may do some where we craft some seared brick too, by pulling it out as we go, just so that we have the items that we need to make it. But I'm going to let that go, and I'm going to make all the pieces we need to build the large multi-block smeltery. And while that's doing, I'm going to figure out exactly how I want to lay it out here. Because while it doesn't need it, I think that aesthetically, having the smeltery here with some kind of chimney system where a chimney comes out of the roof will make this build look even better. While we are waiting for the smeltery to finish its tasks, we want to get some things from the Nether. And so I'm going to head in there just briefly to figure out what we're doing. I have been to the Nether before, and I did some mining with my steam mining drill, and so we have a tunnel in the Nether. But the main things I want to get from the Nether are that I need blaze rods to make magma cream. Well, or I could get magma cream. The blaze rods is the easiest way to get magma cream. And let me remove this. That way it's not bothering us. But we need blaze rods or magma cream, and we need some cobalt, because we want cobalt to make better weapons, and we also want to make plate leggings, which uses cobalt. Well, plate armor. Leggings is just the one that I have up. So if we look at the rest of the plate armor, down here, they all just use cobalt and then some various other items to finish them off. Just chains. So chains are easy, it's just iron. But we need 3 plus 6, that's 9, plus 5 is 14, and 4 more is 18 pieces of cobalt ingots to make our plate armor. And that's, well, the plate armor is what we want to do for our final armor from this mod. So cobalt is just found all around the Nether, so we can find that as we're exploring. I also wouldn't mind digging down to find some netherite, but that may wait till another time. And then the other thing is, when I was exploring earlier, or mining, I came down and I found that there was a nether fortress down here. So I'm fairly certain that somewhere in this fortress there would be a blaze spawner. And with this mod pack, we can pick them up by shift right clicking and move them wherever we need to. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some time and kind of clean this area up, make an area that's spawn proof for us to come in, so that we can head out and kill some magma cubes to get some magma cream, and also head down to that nether fortress in a safe way, because we don't really have great armor, we don't have great weapons or anything yet, so we want to kind of slowly make our way there. So I'm going to work on that. I'm probably just going to make an area that's encased in stone with some slab flooring so we don't have any spawns inside, so we can get into the nether safely, and then we'll start working our way down to the nether fortress and build a safe way to get over there to start harvesting the resources from it. I may also turn off shaders while we're in here, because I do have a tendency to get a little bit of lag when I'm running shaders with all the light updates from the lava and the fire and the magma blocks. So we may do that, we'll see. But I'll come back once I have this area cleaned up and safe, so that we can come in here without having to worry about dying over and over and over again. I have built a basic stone structure here in the Nether that is just to keep magma cubes out, keep gassed fireballs out, that kind of thing. I started working on doing some decoration for it to make it look a little more interesting. I think I'm going to end up doing like a stone floor, and then I'll do some kind of wall where we can actually see out to see the Nether around us. But for now, it's just to protect us. I made 2 little paths for now. One is this one that goes down. I haven't finished digging it out, but it's a stairwell that goes down to the lava lake level so that we can get lava. I've just been taking a tank down there and filling it up when we need lava for power and whatnot. The other path I made is this one that goes all the way down to the nether fortress down here that we discovered earlier. And so we're going to head down there and get some blazes. Okay, I got back in and grabbed my stuff and ran for it. I put some more bars up around these pillars. I'm going to just slowly work my way down in so that we can clear out some of these skeletons along the way. I'm just using my void dank and putting up miscellaneous blocks because I don't really care how this looks. It's not going to be a permanent thing. I really want to put it like that so we can't get around the corner. Okay, let's go down this hallway a little bit. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot down here. But you never know. Could extend into another room. Nothing. Alright. So our goal is to get this blaze spawner just kind of under control so that I can get to it to kill some blazes. I think what I'll probably do is make a space to move it to down in our little central area. Oh, is that a second one or is that the same one? Oh, there's one there, and it looks like there's one there too. Figures in a map where I have mods that make it so I can move blaze spawners. The blaze spawners are perfectly near each other to make a double farm when I don't need it to. Another thing I need to work on is figuring out a way to make some kind of ranged weapon, like bows or something, and get arrows. That would be extremely helpful. This isn't going to stop any spawning, but it'll slow it down a little bit. Let's do that. And then I'm just going to put up bars here. That way the blazes won't come out. That one's under control then. Keep food. Spawning a bunch of the other platform though. Interesting. Cursed droplet. I have to use to make cursed earth. Okay, so that's a little bit of a safe area to get away from them. Getting to the point where I have decent armor and can handle this much better will be very nice, because right now I feel very unsafe. Gonna wall up along this way too, so I can block the blazes from that direction. Iron armor is definitely helping, but it's not that strong. Okay, so as I mentioned before, these blaze spawners, I can move them by shift right clicking on them. But I need somewhere to put them first. Let's head back out. Did I get any blaze rods? I got 3. Grab a few more before we head back out. I'm just going to do a little drop down here so I can get in. And I can attack them without them attacking me, hopefully. Probably need to have another block so I can go in a little farther so they can see me. Grab that last one I got there, and then I'll be good. Couple there. Okay, for now that's more than enough for what I need. So we'll get back out of here. And then what I'm gonna do is back at our Nether spawn, I'm going to build a little area to move those spawners into. And so I'll... Ooh, there's a chest over there. I wonder if that's a mimic. Heal up first, just in case it is. Looks like it is. Kind of off centered, like it's not quite in this block. No, it's a real chest, tell you. Emeralds. 16 magma cream. I know notes were in there. I wouldn't even go on down to the blaze farm. Alright, that's cool. Awesome. These chests are big rewards, but they're so risky because they have if they're mimics, the nether mimics are crazy. But we'll get to the point where they're nothing, and then we'll be able to fight them even better. Okay, back at the base, just throwing in all the things we got from in the nether. We need to make some nether grout. Now that we have all the extra magma cube we got from that chest, that's great. That's more than enough. So the things that we need to make are what we need to make an anvil. Let's see. We're going to make the brass anvil because brass is easier for us. So we need to make 4 of the scorched bricks, and then we need 3 blocks of brass. So all we need is 12 of the nether grout. That'll make the bricks we need. And then for brass, I have some, but it's made with copper and zinc. So let's grab some copper. I don't know if I can put the... I'm not sure if I can put the deep slate ore into the smeltery. Let's check and see if it has a recipe. It has a melter recipe. Doesn't have a smelter recipe. That's okay. We just need to make 27 brass ingots, so we need 24 more. So the recipe to make brass ingots. Let's see here. So we need 1 ingot of copper, 1 ingot of zinc, and it makes 2 ingots of brass. So if we need 24, we need 12 of these, and then we need zinc. We may have to go and get some ground up. But yeah, let me get that made up, and we'll get the brass made up, and we'll get a brass anvil made. So I got the copper melted, and I got zinc dust put in, and so that is melting, and as it melts, it is forming brass here in our smeltery. Just need to get enough for 3 blocks. Then I'm going to put this in here. Okay, so that's 2 blocks and 6 ingots. I might have done the math wrong, I guess. Either that or something didn't work out right, but okay, we have extra brass we can throw in. Let's It's weird. There's some visual glitches from our smeltery where it does not quite do the things that I want. Let's switch over to the seared stone then. I did take the fluid pipe off now that we were done with the seared stone. We need to work on building that as well, but you can see that I'm using the faucet to do it. Almost there. So we're going to use these items that we're making now to craft an anvil. That will get us into the higher tier Tinker's items. We'll demonstrate that in just a little bit. And I'm going to get the larger scale smeltery built now that we have all the blocks for it. Gotten everything I need together to do the Tinker's Anvil. Tinker's Anvil is an upgrade from the Tinker's Station. So we actually took our existing Tinker's Station and used it in the recipe. Just added brass and scorched stones to it. So when we put this back down as part of our station over here, first of all, the model looks pretty neat. I like that. But the Anvil gives us access to a few things we didn't have before. All of these broad weapons that use the broad plate or large plate were not available until we put the Anvil in. So we can make things like the broad or the cleaver, the excavator, the vein hammer, the sledgehammer, the broad axe, and the scythe. So that's something we'll get into to make some more advanced tools. The sledgehammer is pretty handy. It works like the steam mining drill where it mines 3x3. We probably will use that for some things. The other thing we set up is we built our smeltery. A few things to point out with it is that, actually, let me come back here. I put the ladder on the back, so if I want to get up above, I can just climb up the ladder that's part of the smeltery. So if you see in these corners, I made corners where the corners are filled in, and on the front I did not. And these blocks here in this corner and this corner are not necessary for the smeltery to work, but they are there for aesthetic reasons. I'm going to see how I like it if I fill this all the way in up here and go one more layer high. I don't really need the extra space, but I kind of think it'll look better to have it right up against the roof like this. At some point I do want to build the chimney stack from it to go out for the roof just for aesthetic purposes, but for now I just want to see what this looks like. I think that fills in the room a little better. I may actually even put a row of blocks across the top. I'll have to make another ladder to get up there, but I may put a row up like this, even though it doesn't serve any purpose, just to make it look a little more filled in up there. But the features of this is I put in the tank on the bottom so that we can actually connect to it from the basement, so we can set up a lava system underneath there to keep this fueled. I also put in a seared chute so that if we want to have items coming in from our applied energistics network, we can actually connect through the basement. The drain I put up on this level so that I could have it on the corner, so I could have two different faucets coming out of the same drain. I could do the same thing by just making more drains and putting them on. You can have multiple drains on the smelter, and I may change that up in the future. But I also want to get into the foundry from Tinker's construct, from Hephaestus, and do some of that as well. So that's all stuff we'll get into a little later on. I think I was using these torches to measure things out. Probably put a couple back on the wall to keep it lit in this corner. We'll be putting a few more things in here as far as the foundry and other smeltery stuff goes, but I like the way that fits in there. It fills the whole room pretty much, which is what I was going for. And now we can do very large smeltery operations in this smeltery. It will be fine handling anything we throw at it. So that's going to be it for the Hephaestus mod for now. We'll definitely be making more tools and weapons from it. Before I go into the Nether again, I'll be making some plate armor, but I have to go collect cobalt for that. So we'll definitely be doing that. Oh, I had a bunch of anvils I got from the graveyard, so I just threw them in the corner here. I'll probably move them around. In fact, I have an idea for them right now. They might fit perfectly back in this corner here. So we can do little anvils facing in different directions. It's kind of neat. Blacksmith looking items. But we'll do some more decorating in here. We'll do some more expansion of this area. And we'll also get into doing more tools in another episode. But for now, we have everything we need if we want to do any of the items in Hephaestus, and we can expand into some of the more complicated stuff as we go. So I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.